Welcome to the Woodlands Area Chamber of Commerce Young Professional Network podcast, a show where we discuss topics related to business, lifestyle, politics, and other challenges that young professionals are facing. We want our millennials and Gen Z to strengthen today for your impact on tomorrow.
Welcome, everybody, to another Young Professionals Network podcast. Today, we will be speaking with Adam Koch of Koch Insurance Group, and we have with us our lovely host, Cameron Cruz.
I need like a drum roll of an entrance. There we go. Woo! Okay, now say my name.
Cameron Cruz.
There we go.
Of 5 Point Credit Union, and me, Chazzette Adams. I'm with the Chamber. Today, we're going to be talking to Adam about why he joined the Chamber, his journey to Koch Insurance Group, and, you know, just what advice does he have for young professionals on why they should join the Chamber, why they should join groups, what's the importance, what they should do, how do they navigate through chambers, and, you know, to obtain the success that they need as another stream of advertising and connections for their business. Everyone
asks this question. This is the first question everyone asks. What do I get out of the Chamber? Yep. Why am I even here? You're about to get your answer.
Yep.
And go ahead.
What? I have to talk now?
You do have to talk
I'm
now.
very terrified. You know that, right?
He's a comedian in real life.
No, not in real life. It's a pretend thing. Comedian. I don't know much of that. My wife would completely disagree with that, with the eye rolls. My daughter, no. Her most common answer to me is, really? Where do you want me to start? I got so much to talk about. We can go on for days.
Well, let's start at the beginning of your business journey.
All right. So long and short of that, let's see. Graduated from Texas A&M. Whoop. Graduated, and I went on to manage a number of apartment complexes within the Waco area.
Okay.
I found out that I did not, this is no offense to anybody out there in here anywhere, hated Waco. Okay. This was before Chip and Joanna Gaines, so I mean, it might be a whole lot better now, but then, not so much. And it could have been, home is where the heart was, and my heart was never there, so that's probably some of it too. So long story short on that, I was working for an apartment management firm, managing a number of apartment complexes there, and I lost my job for a very, very, very corporate reason. And the whole journey's crazy on that because we had just adopted our daughter, just moved there. I'd been driving back and forth between Bryan and Waco for months, many, many months, and just moved there, and 30 days later, I lost my job. And I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. And like I said, it was a very corporate reason.
Right.
And that's when I knew corporate life
wasn't for you.
It was not for me. Holy cow. So through the grace of God, my roommate from college had a grandmother that just went to a nursing home. Not good for her, good for me. She had a home in Conroe that was vacant. So we had nowhere else to live. We had a new kid with us, had no money. And so we all moved here, my wife and I, and in our one kiddo and 2 dogs and a couple of cats, bird, things like that. All moved to Conroe and lived rent-free for about 9 months. And it helped me figure out, it gave me enough time to really figure out what it is I was going to do next. I looked at applying at other apartment management firms, but again, home is where the heart was, I guess, and my heart was not in that industry anymore. I did not want to be a part of it. So I was like, you know what, I want to start my own business. And then I looked at my bank account. I'm like, I'm very limited. So I needed something that was service-based, something that was kind of low entry, had no problem with sweat equity. And that ended up being the insurance industry. I could, initially could run it out of my house, didn't have to have a whole lot of capital. There's no inventory, no storefront I had to have. And so I got into insurance because, for lack of better words, I needed a job.
Right.
What year was this?
Oh, my gosh. Don't ask that. 2004.
Okay.
So 2004 when all this kind of shook down. It was 2004 when I lost my 2004 when I lost my job, when I started the insurance agency, and I got it, or I started as I needed a job. I just needed something to pay the bills. But what I learned is, for some strange reason, now don't hold this against me, but I really like it. I really like the insurance biz, and I've grown to really love what I can do. And so as the journey progressed, I started out just like every other insurance agent. I was selling the home and auto insurance, the life insurance, got a variable license, and selling retirement programs, things like that. And then I started writing business insurance, and that was about 2 years in before I wrote my first business policy. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I did not do a good job. I thought I did, but I did not. And luckily, there were no complications, no issues with that. There were no claims, so I didn't get slapped with any issues there, thankfully, because it is a lot harder than a lot of folks think. And so, but what I learned is I really love dealing with business owners.
Right.
I love dealing with business owners than just the general public. I really do. And so I started to transition everything, all my marketing, everything I was doing, and started learning a lot more about business insurance. And just kind of kept progressing there until 100% of my book of business is now nothing but business insurance.
Wow.
And look, life is grand. Life is great. 18 years. I've got a fantastic team that has surrounded me. I've got 7 employees that when I'm doing stuff like this or running around with other chamber events or other community events, it's. My business keeps going. In fact, a lot of times it runs better without me in the way. So, which is a blessing. Look, it's been a long time to get to that point. Mm-hmm. It really has been. But again, you got to work for it.
Yeah. How many team members do you have?
So I have a total of 7.
Wow.
And it says a lot about them too.
Yeah.
One of them's been with me. So my longest term employee. So I'll pull the veil back. I did not know how to manage people early on.
Okay.
I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to manage people. I was an insurance agent trying to run a business.
Okay.
In about 8 years ago, I was working with a gentleman, and he changed my mindset. He says, "Why are you working in your business, not on your business?" Right? We've heard that from a lot of business coaches. That's nothing new, but it's something I hadn't really heard really. And what it did is it started that transition, that walk from being an insurance agent that owns an insurance agency to a business owner that happens to be insurance is my product. And so I started transitioning the whole mindset, putting the right folks in place, learning how to manage those people, because I was a manage by abdication type person. I put you in the role and just like, hey, good luck, everybody.
Right.
And maybe there's some support, but no real training, no real follow-up. And so I've been in it 18 years, and I still learn stuff all the time. It's a journey. I think you mentioned, what is your business journey? We've been doing this for 25 years, 30 years, hopefully 40. Hopefully I'm not as involved at 40 years, but who knows? The journey is we all learn. We all get better. We all do better. And we learn where our weaknesses are, and we either do one of two things. We either study and improve ourselves, or we hire somebody that's good at that and make sure that they can take care of business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said working on your business. What does that look like for you now?
A lot of times it's just being the pretty face in the public, which is really great. Because according to my wife, I have a very pretty face. No, she doesn't. She's going to listen to that. She's just like, no, I didn't. I never said that once. She just had a very hairy face. But so working on the business is. There's a lot of behind the scenes things. So I make sure that my agents have the right tools, the right technology. I focus on the customer experience.
Okay.
So think of Apple. If you're an Apple fan person, right? You are a fan. They have a fanatical following. Microsoft, not as much, but Tesla might have a fanatical following. These brand names have a fanatical following. It has to do with their marketing and how they portray themselves. Well, that's what I want to do. I want that fanatical following of my customers. My customers, if they're with me, they know that they're taken care of. They have a fantastic customer experience. So everything I look at within the business has to do with that customer experience. Did they know that there might have been a problem? If there was a problem, was it communicated? Was it taken care of? Very rarely do we have a problem, but you know what? Stuff happens all the time, so we want to make sure that experience, that wow experience is there. I know it's kind of cliche. People talk about world-class service all the time, but legitimately we focus on that, or I do, and as such, my all my staff, they focus on that exact same thing. They want to make sure that customer is well taken care of, that they are just wowed with the experience, and there's no buyer's remorse after a new customer comes on. A lot of that has to do with communication and setting expectations. Yeah. They know exactly how to communicate with us, exactly who to communicate with. When you set that example or that expectation, it's a whole lot easier, right?
Yeah. So when did you become a chamber member, and what got you into the chamber world?
So that's a fun one. That's kind of a leading question. Do you know my history on this one, or are you just asking it?
No, I actually don't know.
So about 8 years ago, I moved my office from Conroe to the Woodlands.
Okay.
I immediately joined the Woodlands Chamber. I had a ribbon cutting, met a couple of folks there, and I didn't do jack squat for about 5 years.
Wow.
I never went to a breakfast. I never went to a meeting. I never went. All I did was pay my dues and put a little sticker on my plaque each month or each year. And that was it. And I tell you who it was. It was Josh Cherry, if you remember that gentleman. We were chatting one time, and he says, "You should join the chamber." I'm like, "Well, I'm a member of the chamber." He's like, "I've never seen you at anything there, period." And I'm like, "Well, you're right, because I haven't done jack squat in over 5 years." He said, "Well, you need to fix that." So I I'll go ahead and do that. So I went to a breakfast. And I'd done the networking world, and I know with the chamber we're trying to get rid of the networking field, but that's what it was. Is I was going to kind of branch out of my little hole in the wall office there, and just make sure that just kind of see what else was out there. So it was really about 5-6 years, or excuse me, it's about 3 years ago. I'll get the numbers right. There's a lot of numbers in my head, by the way. About 3 years ago, I went to a breakfast. And I enjoyed it. And I'm like, you know what? I can see some value in this, at least getting to know some folks. And then I started going to being more involved. And, I made a conscious decision that if I'm going to be part of the community, I wanted to be part of the community. And so that meant being more involved in the chamber. Now, this is not a knock on any other chamber out there. So, the Conroe Chamber, the greater, the greater East County, they're fantastic groups of folks. I've never found anything like the folks that are in this group. In this chamber, it's one of the largest, most active. There's a lot of large businesses. There's community leaders that are here, and that was really what kind of sold it on me. And so from then on, I just start paying a whole heck of a lot of money, apparently, to have friends. That's what it is. That's not true. That's not true, people. If you're looking at this on video, it's not true.
So you're very involved. So you went from breakfast. Tell us about your journey through connecting, not networking.
Through connect. That's right. That's what we're trying to do here is connect, not so much network. So my journey into that, I became involved as a diplomat. So I was speaking to my business coach, and this is something that if we're talking to a small business owner, coach, you need to be coached. There's something one of my mentors said years ago. He says you need to mentor and be mentored. And so you need to have people that are at least better than you or know something about business, how to run a business, that you can sit down with on a weekly basis and just talk. So I've got a business coach, and we were talking about ways of getting more involved. I said, I like these folks at the chamber. They seem really nice. And
is that how you said it?
That's probably pretty similar. I mean, that's probably pretty accurate. So I was chatting with him, and he said, "Well, is there any way that you can actually become more involved?" I'm like, "Well, I'd like to start going to some of the ribbon cuttings and start making an appearance at these. But there's this thing they said something about being a diplomat. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to check it out." And so, I talked to Cindy, I talked to a couple other folks, and they said, "You know what? We'd love to have you as a diplomat." I don't know why, but they said they love to have me. They think it would be a good fit, and essentially, a diplomat, for those that don't know, is just basically volunteers that get abused by the chamber on a daily basis, and we don't get paid for it, like Chaz here. So, what did I? Oh.
He didn't mean that.
I didn't mean that.
He didn't mean that.
Maybe. I don't know. It's
okay. He's still here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I like the abuse, so bring it on. No, it ended up being a fantastic way of getting to know a whole lot more people, not just on what they do, but who they are. Who they are. I mean, it's important to know the folks you're around. Are they actually good people? Mm-hmm. That's really important to know, because you want to surround yourself by people that can help edify and build you up. Mm-hmm. And my journey has definitely brought me to a lot of folks like that.
Yeah. So you've done the breakfast. You're now a diplomat. What else?
What else have I done?
Yeah.
Well, sponsored this. Like I said, the money thing. I've sponsored a lot of, I've had my logo up on a lot of different things. Videos. I've gone to a lot of the connection meetings. Meet the new members. After hours, going to executive leadership meetings, just kind of being visible, being present. Now, granted, I have the ability to do a lot more of this stuff than some other folks might be able to because of the team I have behind me. I totally recognize that. And you can network yourself out of business. So there is a fine line in there. So I'm able to do some things that other folks might not be able to do, at least not right away. But that doesn't mean you can't do anything like I did for the first few years.
And is it important? I feel like I loved when you said working on your business. And because it was your business, I find the importance of being able to put your face out there. And kind of like, it's good to know good people. So when people say your name, I've heard it before, so I can make this comment. When people say your name, they're like, "Oh, he's a great guy. He's amazing, fun to be around." And how does that make you feel to connect that back to your business? Because it may not be a first instance buy in things that you sell.
Sure.
But the importance of it connecting back to your business.
No, absolutely. First, I need to know who said that so I can make sure I pay them appropriately, because that's the deal. But no, in reality... No, it does make me feel good. I mean, absolutely, because I try. That's who I think I am. I think I'm an okay dude, but it's also a reflection of the people that you hang around with. And so, one of the most important things, and this kind of leads to your question here, but one of the most important things as a business owner, especially if you're starting out, is to surround yourself by other people that are in the same boat as you are or better. So if you are the best in the room, if you walk in a room and you're the best at what you do, are you going to learn anything? Probably not. Now, what you do may not be insurance, maybe something else, but if you're the best at something, you're not going to learn anything more about that thing. But if you don't have a good understanding of accounting and you're surrounding yourself by accountants, you're going to pick up some additional information.
Right.
So you never want to be the best in the room at what you're looking for or what you're doing at that particular moment. You always want to be able to, learn by osmosis, right? I guess it is, or just by listening. But that's part of the great thing about the chamber and about being involved in a group like this is you get a lot of folks that are brand new business owners. They don't know what they don't know. And getting together, I hate to say it like this way, but misery loves company, right? And as a small business owner, we've all gone through it. Heck, I've been doing it for 18 years. I still go through it from time to time. Anybody who owns a business has gone through it. They're going to have those days where they literally shut the door, put their head down on the desk, and just cry. Why did I do this? This is awful. I'm going to go get me a job working 9 to 5 somewhere down here. I can make so much more money doing that initially than I could running your own business. For most people, that's the truth. They could go work for somebody else. But I can guarantee you there's nothing more rewarding than building a business from scratch, or just however you acquire that business and run that business, run it well, learn how to run it, screw up, mess up, cry, and then pull your big boy pants back up and get going.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's important.
So, we're, as young professionals, there's so many, sorry about that. As young professionals, there's so many of us who have been in business, who are in business still, who are thinking about starting our own businesses. And what advice do you have to give them about joining a chamber? How do they navigate their way through the chamber? What do they do when they come to the events? How do they sponsor events? How do they get involved even more? How do they build the connections that you have? Because everybody knows Adam. Everybody knows Adam. Besides his face being on a ball.
Right.
Which is one of the best marketing things I think I've done in a long time. Just my face. It sounds like I might be a little bit egotistical, but it's not. It was meant to be funny. It was meant to be people like squishing my face into a stress ball or something like that, or throwing my face at my face. But there's a lot of questions in what you asked. As a new business, I think it's really important to join a chamber. I'm going to be honest with you. And this is not what a lot of people want to hear. When you join a chamber, a lot of people are going to join the chamber because it's going to give them more business. That doesn't happen necessarily immediately. It is a long play. The relationship for most people, it's about the chamber's about the relationships. And so if you're serious about growing your business, you have to surround yourselves by like-minded people, by positive people. And I'm going to say something about the Woodlands, and this is Conroe, this is Montgomery County as a whole. I have never experienced a community like this. I've been in other parts of Houston, other parts of Texas, and this community is one of the most giving and most accepting communities I've come across, especially for a new business, even if they're in the same industry you are. Folks that have a business here want other businesses to succeed, and it's fantastic. All right, that's a side. So what you're doing when you join chamber, you're joining with people that have that mindset. They want you to succeed. So they're going to give you information. Again, misery loves company. I'm going through this big trough. Well, you're not the only one. Guess what? And actually, that's encouraging to know that you're not the only one going through that. Because when your business is struggling, you feel like you're isolated. You're on an island. You're struggling. You can't. And what you do when you get in that mindset is you pull back even more. You got to resist that. You got to get out there, and you just have to be with people that are that are in the same world you are, trying to grow their business and glean some information from them. So many people are so willing. So that, to me, that is the single most important reason to join a chamber, to join the Woodlands Chamber. That's the number one, in my opinion, is just to be around really quality folks, to be able to help you grow your business, get better at what you do, and become a force to reckon with.
Oh, you meet a lot of people.
You really do. So I mean, every meeting, you talking about me? I meet a lot of people. But yes, as far as generally
being
speaking,
a part of the chamber.
I mean, there's three connection events a month typically, if not more. You've got to meet the new members that have 60 to 70, 80 people there. Some of those folks aren't the same folks you'll see at the breakfast, which you'll have 70, 80 people there, are not some of the same folks you'll see at business after hours. So you get to meet a lot of different folks. And one of the things I have to make sure is really important out there is that you can't come to just one event and expect a relationship to be built. I said it before, I said it again, this is the long play. But it's the best way to grow your business, from experience, from finding employees, from finding clients, whatever it is. It's the long play, but it is the most valuable play that you'll have. And it really, a basic membership in the chamber that gets you access to all of this is not that much. And no, I am not being paid to sell the chamber membership right now. I'll be paid later. Anyway, no, not at all. Not at all. But going to the breakfast, bring a little gift to hand out. You get to talk twice in a microphone when you do that. Isn't that great? If I could talk on the microphone all day long, I'd do it. You could probably tell that by now. Bring a gift. It doesn't have to be much. Just a little
marketing trinket.
Little trinket.
Yeah.
Bring a bottle of wine. Wine seems to be real popular. I really like bourbon, so bring that, and I'll make sure I win every time.
He can't do that.
I can't. I have no power to do it, even though I try to will it, but it doesn't happen. Sponsor an event. A great way to get some exposure is to sponsor one of the Meet the New members. Sponsor a lunch. There's lunches going all the time. The chamber is always asking for you to sponsor a lunch because they serve a lot of lunches. And so there's a lot of different ways to get it, and you don't have to spend $15,000, $20,000 a year to get the exposure that you need. Now, if you have the means to do so, there's some benefits to sponsoring and having your name up in lights, and that what I call that is kind of very hyper local advertising. You want to if you have something niche-y, hyper locally advertise that here, make people think that you're the only one that actually does that.
Yeah.
There's value there, but that's on a marketing podcast. That's not necessarily what that is. So, but yeah, just sponsor some. Make sure people know your name. The old adage, if you build it, they will come, does not work when you're building a business.
I think it's important for young professionals to know too the concept of the long haul. I think growing from millennial to Gen Z, we want everything to happen so fast. And I think connecting I'm that person. I love to be behind the screen. I know, sorry. But I think it enhances you because you start putting faces with names. And I think it's something that you cannot do behind a screen. And I know networking we want to go down with, and even connecting to a sense. But I think it's really important to be able to put people's faces with their company to their name, because nothing changes on how they made you feel in that moment.
No,
and you may
right.
not have been thinking about business insurance today. That may have not come across your mind, but in 3 years, I need it. And I'm like, Adam, I remember. Yeah. It came at the top. And I remembered how you made me feel in that moment to have that relationship to move forward. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So, and that's why we call it the long play. If you're looking for that immediate customer, that's probably a cold call. That's probably as best as you can get. This is not cold calling. This is relationship building. And so that's why it's really important to put that out, not just for the young folks, but for the guys that are starting business at 50, 60 years old. They're there, and some of them have the same mindset that they want to come in, and if I join the chamber, I'm going to get business. And it might happen, and it's happened. Like I told you about the first meeting I went to in 5 years. Well, I got a good piece of business from that meeting. Well, I'd never done anything else with chamber before. I would just happen to be sitting next to the right person. So yes, can it happen? Absolutely, it can. Yeah. But that's not why I kept coming. I kept coming because I saw the value in the relationships. Meeting folks within our community, and I'm talking about community leaders, I'm talking about congressmen, I'm talking about mayors, just people that really, if your son ever gets thrown in jail, are good to know somebody to call. Well, he's only 12, but we'll see what happens here in a few years. But
let's not put that out there.
No, we're not going to do that. But okay, maybe we don't take advantage of our relationships like that, but that's it. It's really good to know things. It's really good to know people. To me, it's incredibly satisfying to be at a restaurant and I see people I know, and my son says, "You know everybody."
Or even what's going on in the community.
Well, and that's it too. So
not even in the same industry that you're in. Sometimes it's good to just know.
Yeah. And you've been attending our executive leadership luncheons, and
that's a good
those
one.
are I mean, that's where you meet the congressman.
That's
the
where you find out
mayors.
all the secrets.
That's
That's where we find out how in trouble the Montgomery County area isn't, because it's
Very much so.
Because you might
like
think
that.
there's some issues, but I tell you what, this community is so good and so strong. But yeah, go into the executive
Leadership
Leadership.
Thank you. The executive
council.
words are hard. You go to the executive leadership council has been fantastic. To me, in my opinion, it's probably one of the most powerful things you can do, or you can actually attend.
And you can only get there by being involved in the chamber.
Yeah.
Because this is my first year being able to be involved in that, and I think it's an amazing
Yeah.
tool in general.
It absolutely is. I mean, shoot, yesterday I sat next to the deputy director or the assistant. What is the word for Ted Cruz's number 2? Okay.
Important.
He's a very important dude. His name's HK. He's an awesome dude. I talked with him for a while. I would have never have met him, sat next to him, asked him, Senator Cruz's, opinions on this or that, because, Senator Cruz, he's a busy fellow. I did tell him this one very important thing, and this is probably the most important thing you'll hear here today, is that Ted Cruz looks so much better with the beard. I'm just telling you, it's a beard life, my friend.
This is why Adam gets to be in the executive leadership council, because he says things like that.
I think like that, exactly. So I'll state the obvious.
Yeah. You also mentioned about the fact that, it's such a community and you get to, a lot of people. And when you know people, they introduce you to people.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah. And I mean, you even run into people at restaurants, at grocery stores. And because they start, as you said, putting your face, your name and everything, like you build this whole network where you're like, wow, I'm not from here, but I know a lot. I could charter 2 planes of people. That's how many people I know.
You know what they say? It's not what you know, it's who you know
It's who you know.
sometimes.
And that is actually really correct. So whenever you might have a need, there might be a tax issue that you have, and you need some help with. Heck, I was having an issue with a mortgage, with a title issue for some land that's being sold up in the Marble Falls area, and we were having the issue with the title company. All I could say to my wife is, if only I knew the owner of a very well-established and growing title company in the area. Oh, wait, I do. And so I got my answer that I needed and found out there was some weird stuff going on. So, but, it saved me time, it saved me effort, and might have saved me a lot of money just by asking the question to the folks
that you built a relationship
That's
with.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
Oh. Well, Adam, any last words for young professionals?
I've said it. I can't say it more or I can't say it too many times. Get involved. Look at what you're looking for value, or I guess define what value you want out of the chamber. And if the value you're looking at is for a quick client, again, it might happen, but it's probably not. You've got to have that mindset that when you go in here, you're building that relationship. You're gonna grow your connections, and you never know who knows who, and they might. So again, when you go to an event, don't try to sell anybody that event.
Right.
No, you're building a relationship. But what you do want to know is, who do they know? Who can they introduce you to? That might be the perfect referral partner, customer, mentor. It doesn't have to be money coming in your pocket. It'd be somebody that does what you do and have done it really successfully. That would be willing to chat with you, and it could be a total paradigm, or as I say, it's a paradigm. It's a paradigm shift for you. It'll totally change your world.
Yeah. Well, you have any more questions, Adam? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for sharing this knowledge. I work here. You both are involved. It's so good to hear it from the members. It's so good to hear it from the people who have been here, because I could say it all day long and people are like, oh, well, that's what you do. You get paid. But to hear it from the members, and
we get to pay to say this. You get paid to say that. There you go, too.
right.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for joining us, and thank you everybody for watching another episode of our Young Professionals Network podcast.
Gig 'em.